Hi folks, this is the second edition of Module 1 Novice Problems. I'm going to try to do 4, 5, and 6. Let's go to our worksheet. Let's go to problem 4. Here's where we're trying to create hyperlinks of a variety. I've got the hyperlinks over here. One way to study this is to right-click a cell and look to Edit Hyperlink to see where it came from. Now, when creating a hyperlink, the first thing you have to do is select what you want to link to. You can link to an existing web page or a file. You can place it in this document, in this workbook, for example, any of the sheets. You can create a new document, or you can create an email address and put it into an email. Now, what we're going to look at is the first two and the last one. We're not going to create a new document. But here is the hi self that creates a path to an email address. I want it to say hi self. You can see it says that, so I leave that there. I'll put in my email address. I'll type in the subject, hi, self. You saw it there before, but it had a bunch of added characters that Excel understands. I hit OK. This thing now turns blue because I've written over it. I touch it, and there it is, my email to myself. The next one, it takes me to a certain place in the spreadsheet. I want to go to cell C23, and let's see what this looks like. Let's go to Open Hyperlink, or to Edit Hyperlink. This one is taking me to 326. I'm going to change that. We can go anywhere in this, any cell in this particular sheet. We're going to place it in this document. This is what we want the text to look like. I hit OK. By the way, it's going to practice problem 4 solution. I hit OK, and I touch it, and it takes me to G23. The next one is going to take me to Wikipedia. Let's see what this looks like. I'm going to edit the hyperlink. One of the things I can do, I can go to an existing file or a web page. I type in the text that I want to appear in the cell, take me to Wikipedia, and then I add the URL down below. I've done it here. I could go to CNBC if I wanted to. CNBC.com. I hit OK. Of course, I'd have to change this. CNBC. Hit OK. And let's see if it does. It'll take a while to open the page. And there we are at the CNBC homepage. It happens to be a very good day on the market, which I like. Okay, let's go back to the web page here. Let's do one more. Let's go to Hi and Welcome. This is to a document that is in my on my desktop. Let's go to Edit the Hyperlink to see what's in there. So I want to get an existing file or web page. I've got a pull-down menu that allows me to go to different places. If I go up high enough, I can see my desktop. The file that I want to go to is Hi and Welcome. I go to OK. And let's see where this takes us. First of all, it warns us that this might be a dangerous place. Of course, it's not. It takes us to this page of this picture of this beautiful animal, this mule, and the mule hand that is taking care of it. Let's go back. Now let's go to problem 5. In this problem, I want to create a two-way data table, but I want to create one that's a little different in that I'm not going to have values in the row and the column. I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in doing is replicating random events. If you look at these cells, this is a simulated income statement, and by the way, this is a Monte Carlo simulation. I've created a silly little problem. This particular problem allows me to randomly generate values for revenue, cost of goods sold, variable cost, fixed cost, and then the resulting bottom line. Someone wants me to do a study of a possible income statement, a pro forma income statement, and they want me to be realistic and use the uncertain events that can happen associated with each one of these elements, revenue, cost of goods sold, etc. So I picked up a rather easy way of doing it. We often use data tables to replicate these random experiments, and that's what we're doing here. This is unimportant. What's important here is how we create a two-way data table. Here is our important cell, the metric we want, the bottom line. This is the golden cell, as one of my students once called it. The way I create a data table is I will put a reference to the golden cell in a cell. That's the northeast corner of the table. That's Seattle. I'll grab an area. In this case, here's the area that I want. I'm going to go to Data. I'm going to go to What If, Data Table, and it's going to ask me for a row input and a cell input. Now, these are irrelevant for me, but I've got to put something in there. I'm going to put for the row input an empty cell, any empty cell that I want, and then for the column input, another empty cell, as long as it's not the same. I hit OK. And notice what's happened. I have generated a bunch of replications of the experiment, so I now have a distribution of possible outcomes. So rather than reporting a single number, an average, for example, I'd say this is what the distribution looks like, and I'd create a graph of that, a histogram. There are 75 values there. I would do many more, obviously, to create to sample more values of the experiment. So that's how I create a two-way data table. Let's now go to the last one, where I'm taking a simple calculation of a monthly outflow of funds from the payment function, given certain parameters, and using a scroll bar to control these values. Sometimes you go to a meeting, someone's going to want to ask the question. Sometimes they're just being mean and say, well, what if that value had been something else? Well, that's what scroll bars are for, is to change parameters in a calculation. So let's do that. Let's create a scroll bar. I'm going to grab my scroll bar from my quick access menu, or not the developer tab. Here's my scroll bar. I'm going to right click it. I'm going to format control. It said that the minimum for value there is 120. By the way, the maximum value you can have in a scroll minimum value you can have is 0. The absolute minimum. The absolute maximum, I think, is 30,000. This is going to be 480 is what our maximum is here. I want to make this 12, the incremental change, and I'm going to make this 60. The last thing is to assign the cell we're going to change. We're going to assign this cell, which is a cell that's assigned to this scroll bar, but we can have two scroll bars attached at the same time. So I hit what you want to assign the cell to. I touch that cell. It now has defined the cell link as cell C25. I hit OK. And now I can make the changes that I want. You have to be very careful. These things are very sensitive. When you press it, you just have to press and go away quickly. All right, that takes care of problems 4, 5, and 6. We'll soon be looking at problems 7, 8, and 9.